My name is Emily, and I am 28 years old. I live in a small town. I am married to Mark, who is 35 years old. We have two children, a son who is 3 years old, and a daughter who is just 6 months old. We moved to this home 2 years ago, and we are settling into our new home. I met Mark 8 years ago when he was 20 and he was 27. We met through some mutual friend at a party and we hit it off immediately. I remember feeling nervous when I first spoke to him, but he was so easy to talk. We exchanged phone numbers and after that we started chatting all the time. We would talk about everything, our families, our hopes, and dreams of the future. A few weeks later, we went on our first date, and from then on, we spent more and more time together. After dating for a while, I knew Mark was when I wanted to marry. He made me laugh, and I loved spending time with him. I felt comfortable with him in a way I had never felt before. We got married when I was 24 years, and I felt so happy to start this new chapter of my life with him. Mark told me about his past before we got married. He shared that he had been in a long relationship before me. He was with his ex-girlfriend for 5 years. They had been close, but things did not work out in the end. Mark said that he had to end relationship because they wanted different things in life. I also found out that Mark had a first love before his ex-girlfriend was very young when he was with her. Only 90-year-old, he told me that he loved her deeply, but they eventually grew apart when she moved to another city for school. Mike was heartbroken when she left and he told me he had never fully gotten over her. I could see how much he cared about her, and even though he said he had moved on. I wondered if he had still thought about her from time to time. It was long before I started to notice little things that made me feel uncomfortable. Mark would sometimes talk about his first love, especially when we were together with his family. His mother would often mention how much he had loved her, and I began to feel like I was caring too much about her. I didn't mind worrying about the past every now and then, but it started to feel like he was not the most important person in my life. I began to feel like I was just part of his parents, but his past still had a hold on him. One day we were out with some friends with Max suddenly became quiet. I looked over Sam staring at someone from across the room. It was a woman I had never seen before. She was standing with her partners, but Mark seemed too focused. He didn't even notice that I was looking at him. I asked him later who she was and told me that she was his first love. He said he did not see her in her years, but they still cared about her. I could feel a sense of sadness in my voice, and I began to wonder if maybe he still had feelings for her. A few months later, he went on a family trip to the beach. While we were there, Mark received a message on his phone. It said his first son when he read it and could not help but I feel that what we read. He tried to hide it from me, but I could tell it about something important. When I asked him about it, he told me it was from the orphan who had reached out to him, and he seemed a little distracted for the rest of the day. At night, when he was alone, I brought up his first love again. I asked him if I ever thought about her and if she still meant something to him. Mark got upset and said, I don't know why you keep bringing this up. It's in the past. You are my wife and I love you, but I was not sure if I believed him. His actions sometimes made me feel like he was not committed to me as I had thought. He was bringing her up in conversation at random times, and I could tell that he was still emotionally affected by her. As time passed, I started to feel more and more like I was not enough for him. I wanted to believe that our relationship was strong, but his constant reference to his past made me feel like I was competing with someone I could never meet. I wanted him to focus on our future, but it seemed like he was always looking back. He stopped being his affection and we grew distance. I did want to comfort him again because I was afraid of what he might say, but I know I could keep living like this. I wanted to feel like I was truly alive, not like I was taken to someone who had been gone for so long. And one evening, after a particularly long and quiet day, I decided to talk to Mark about last time. I asked him, "Do you still think about her? Do you want to be with me, or do you wish you were still with her?" Man looked at me, was surprised, and said, "Why would you ask me that? I love you, Emily." But I was not sure more. His words did not match his action, and I felt like I was constantly competing with the ghost of someone who had long since moved on. I realized that I could not continue in this relationship if I did not feel like I was truly loved and needed someone who was patient, who was focused on our life together, not someone who was constantly looking back at the past. It was one of the hardest decisions I had ever made, but I told Mike that I needed space. I told him I could not keep living in the shadows of this past. I knew that living was going to be easy, especially with our two young children. But I could not continue to sacrifice my happiness for the relationship or if for second place. I needed to find a way to be happy again. But and I know I could not do that. I was wondering if I was good enough for him. I needed to move forward, not backward. And I hoped that someday Mark would realize that he needed to do the same. It was easy and it was painful, but I knew I had made the right choice. I needed to be with someone who loved me fully, someone who would build a future with me without constantly looking over his shoulder at what had been.